Hi everyone, my name is Mary, and I recently found out that my sister sold me on TikTok. Can you imagine? I felt like a dog, or like a thing that someone has the right to sell and do whatever they want with. I was so outraged that I almost pulled all of her hair out. Anyways, now I will tell you more about why she decided to do this and what came out of it. And before I start, please like the video, write comments, and subscribe to the channel. To do this, you need to click just one red button. Thanks. So my sister Zoe and I didn't really get along. I often envied her new purchases on which she spent all her money. I couldn't afford it because I was saving money for something more serious. For college. Don't think we don't have parents to take care of it. I just wanted to create a safety cushion for myself because the admission was already this year. I had little time left. Zoe was a year younger than me, and she still had the time. The fact is that I really wanted to rent a nice apartment in the new city and live there. And for this, I was saving up all my money. Whether you save money or not, it doesn't matter. Money is like water, not enough for anything. If you spend it as recklessly as you do, of course it won't be enough. Have you ever tried to save some, or do you spend it all at once in 5 minutes? In 2. What do you mean? I spent all my money in 2 minutes, and that's not even the record. Bragging in vain. For example, I am saving my money. For what? For college. The time will come for you too, but you don't seem to think about it. I want to go to college and get out of here. I'm tired already. I don't know about you. Truth is, if I can't save up for the college entrance exam, it's unlikely I'll ever get in. It's a paid exam? Well, it's not a paid exam. Actually, it's like a contribution to the development of the college. It's $1,200. I don't want to ask mom and dad for that kind of money, but I also don't want to lose the opportunity to go to college, so I have to save money. How much do you need? $1,000. Wow, you've only saved $200? Uh-huh. Well, we'll see. There are still 2 weeks left. I'll figure something out. Zoe turned around and left. To be honest, I don't even know why I told her about my problems. I don't usually. It just seemed to boil over. I immediately started calling my friends so that someone would lend me some money, but no one had such a huge amount. I was offered $30 here and $40 there. It would take me a month to collect the required amount. Then I decided to get a job. I went to a cafe where they needed a waitress, and on the first day I broke several cups. The owner forgave me, but then I spilled tomato soup right on the fly of a customer. Clutching tightly to his soft spot, he was jumping around like a boiled man. It turned out that he was a regular customer who always left a good tip. At that moment, I severed the relationship between him and that place once and for all. Dismissed. But you haven't even hired me yet. I was on probation. Just get out of here. It was terrible. I didn't get the job, but I needed the money. So I walked the streets and saw that a cleaner was needed in a beauty salon. This is what I need. I know how to clean, I said to myself and boldly went inside. One thing I didn't take into account, there were a lot of people and not enough space, and I always had problems with the flexibility of my body. As soon as I started cleaning, I accidentally brushed a tube on the table with the mop, and it spilled right into the plate with a liquid. The beautician applied this liquid to the hair of a client, a rich, blonde 40-year-old with everything wrapped in foil. After 30 minutes, when the foil was removed, an eerie shout sounded through the salon. "What's wrong with my hair? What did you do to it? How on earth is it green? My daughter's wedding is in 2 hours. Are you kidding me?" I knew that if they found out it was me, the master would beat me up badly, so I just left and never showed up again. I sat on the ground not far from my house, drinking water and thinking about the terrible day I'd had. I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I walked into my room, feeling frustrated and mentally saying goodbye to college. Then my sister came into my room. "You look terrible." "None of your business." "Just saying." "Listen, come with me. I'm not going anywhere today." "Come on, I need your help. I have a guy coming over for a date. I don't care for him, but it would be a shame to stand him up. He'll just see you, I'll tell him you're my sister, and he'll leave. You take care of your boyfriends. I've never asked you for help, have I? I'll buy you a cheeseburger. Make it a double. We went to the restaurant, I sat down at the table, and Zoe said she'd be right back and left. Then her boyfriend showed up and began to flirt with me. I tried to convey that I'm not my sister, but he was like, "But you're Mary, right?" "Yes, how do you know?" "You look exactly the same as in the photo. I love girls without filters, all natural." "What filters? What photo? What are you talking about?" "About the auction." "What auction?" I'd already realized that it was all Zoe's doing, and I made the guy tell me. I was so angry that I could barely restrain myself from flipping the table over in the restaurant. I went outside, and after a few meters, Zoe caught up with me. "I knew you'd act like a savage." "What the hell, Zoe? What were you thinking?" "I sold you on TikTok. More accurately, a date with you. 1 hour, $200. What a deal, huh?" "What? Are you kidding me? Did you decide to make fun of me this way? Humiliate me? Who gave you that right? Do you think I'm a girl of easy virtue?" "No, it's just a date, just a chat. No extra moves, okay? You've been complaining all the time that you don't have enough money. I went on a few dates and I made you $600. Thanks to my number of subscribers, I decided how much it's going to cost, and they offered cheaper for you because you don't have TikTok at all. No offense." "Did you really earn that money for me?" "Well, yes. Don't think about it. I just want to get you out of here. I want to live in our room alone." It almost took my breath away at the time. I always thought my sister didn't care about me. I know that those last words were just a cover-up, so as not to lose the brand of our relationship. It's easier for us to treat each other very seriously and coldly. Otherwise, we can't do anything together. Anyway, Zoe helped me save up the right amount of money, and the day of the installments came. I immediately invested all the money there, and I was told that if I get accepted, I would get double the money back. I took a very difficult exam, and it lasted 3.5 hours. But in the end, I succeeded, and I got accepted. Yes! I got into that college, won a scholarship, and $2,400 in bonuses. I kept half and decided to give back the other half to Zoe. I thought it would be fair to share it with her. But you know, my sister didn't take the money. She told me to keep it for my apartment. "So you don't relax, I'll come over and hang out with you. You can ask permission from Mom and Dad, but don't ever try and control me, okay?" Zoe said. "Okay," I said to her, smiling. I think that would have been the first time I hugged her with all my heart. A couple of months later, I was already packing, and the room was half empty. Zoe was sitting on the bed, wiping away her tears. It was the first time I had ever seen her cry for me. My dad, mom, and little sister came out to walk me to the bus for college. I hugged everyone and got on the bus. And guess what? Sitting next to me was the same guy who had bought a date with me for $200. By the way, Zoe and I never gave him his money back, and he remembered that perfectly. I promised him I'd give it back, but he said he still wanted the date. He wouldn't take the money anyway. I said I'd think about it. By the way, no one else decided to go out with me besides him. Probably because I'm not as glamorous as Zoe.
Hi, my name is Martin. I want to tell you something about myself, or rather, about my parents. So to speak, share with you. I think you'll be as shocked as I am, and it'll be fully justified. Tell me, do you have parents? And what are they? How do they treat you? I know that all of them may not be perfect. Perhaps you often quarrel with them, argue, and sometimes you really want to get out of the house, right? Here, I also have this happen here. Well, it was more accurate. While they're not going to sell me, you know how it is. Like things or products. Here, you are tired of a thing, or it's outdated, and you decide to get rid of it in a way that's profitable for you. They decided to do the same thing with me. Unpleasant? Oh, and how unpleasant it was when I found out about it. If you want to know all the details, then listen further. By the way, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Put a like and be sure to write your opinion in the comments. To begin with, I'm the oldest child in the family. There's 2 other children, my twin brothers, John and Jack. Well, so you can roughly understand how the family treats them and me. If there's something delicious left in the house, then it's given to the twins, and it doesn't matter whether they want it or not. When we go to the store, first to buy all the youngest, and to me, most, is I always tried to look after them. help them with their homework, pick up from school, kindergarten, mug. Sometimes my mother made me cook special breakfasts where you need to show maximum culinary skills. Yes, yes, it was very unpleasant for me. And parents always have one argument for everything. They are younger than you. Of course, the question, so what, was always forced on me. But I got a couple of slaps on the back of the head for it and haven't asked since. It didn't seem to complain much. I even thought it was all right to live like this. Until I grew up. Well, then I started to see how life works in other families. I made friends where I saw how all children are treated equally, and it touched me. I never complained to anyone, and, of course, did not reprimand my ancestors. I didn't want to be any extra problems. And over the years, the resentment grew. And then something even more unpleasant happened. I'll tell you what. This happened a few years ago. The whole family went to a camping trip. Mom bustled around the kitchen all morning making beautiful sandwiches for us. As always, I dragged heavy bags and packed everything in the car. I took a few boxes at a time, and they blocked my path. I honestly didn't see that John ran right out to meet me. In short, I crashed into him and all the boxes fell on him. They weren't exactly heavy, but he got hit on the head and lost consciousness. Can you imagine how hysterical my mother was? We immediately went to the hospital, where John was quickly revived. He was okay, just bumped his head a little. I think my mother was even worse off that day than he was. When I got home, I got a beating. I got the full amount, was accused of all the deadly sins, and it seemed that my mother was ready to just slap me, but restrained herself with the last of her strength. Everything I said sounded like a pathetic excuse, so I chose to remain silent. From that day on, my mother didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. Whenever I didn't try to make up, she ignored me. 2 days later, some people came to our house. I saw them talking to my mother about something. My mother was given an envelope. She signed somewhere and called me. She introduced me to these people, Mr. and Miss Jones. These are your new parents, she said. What? What do you mean? I expected a lot, that I would be deprived of money, internet, TV, dates with friends. Not that I'd be sold. At this moment, all the childish resentments, misunderstandings, and anger woke up in me. I felt so broken, so unnecessary, and it was terrible. I couldn't believe my mom would just sell me out like that. All she said to me at parting was that they were good people and that they were rich. I packed my things, still in a state of shock, and left the house. No one even said goodbye to me. I got in the car and we drove. I was silent all the way, even though these people tried to talk to me. They were very nice, tried to please me in every possible way, offered to stop by some stores to buy anything, but I didn't even know what to do now. How's this possible? When we got home, they showed me my room. I didn't leave it for 3 days. I didn't want to eat or drink. My new parents were worried. They tried to feed me, lured me with goodies, but I refused flatly. I needed time to digest the events. I was shattered, and then I decided to take some pills. It occurred to me that if my parents didn't need me, then who did? I found something in the medicine cabinet and drank, lay down on the bed, and felt how bad I was getting. The new mother came running into the room just as I was about to pass out. I woke up in the hospital, and they were giving me IVs. My new parents were sitting next to me, crying. Surprisingly, they were crying for a child they barely knew. Why? When I came to, my parents, they were very happy. They kissed me, hugged me, and scolded me for what I had done. My mother wiped away her tears, told me never to do it again. It was nice. For the first time in my life, I felt that someone needed me. In the end is when I started feeling better. When I got back to their house, I noticed that they had a really nice house and that they were so nice to me. My new dad showed me all the rooms, allowed me to go to his office sometimes, and my mom took me to the shops and dressed me up. Yes, I felt a little different in attitude. Love, awe, and warmth. It was strange to feel comfort from strangers more than from one's own parents. My mother would read me interesting books at night. My father would meet me after school. And every day, we would build me a new bike from scratch. It was so cool to do something for yourself with your own hands. So about 6 months passed, and one day, my old parents came to our house. That mother was crying and asked me to come back. She said she made a mistake and regretted it. Come back to our house, son. We miss you, she said. The new mother got up from her chair and indignantly told them to leave the house. My old mother took an envelope of money out of her pocket and threw it on the table, saying that they'd changed their minds. We don't need money, she said. Ah, is that so? All your life you've been abusing him, hating him, humiliating him in every possible way, selling him to us for a measly $10,000, and now you have decided to take him away, allegedly out of good feelings? Do you think I don't know that my son is being offered $500,000 to someone who will lead him to an old man Francis? My mother shouted. I sat there and didn't understand what was happening. Old mom wiped her eyes and started talking to me, like she misses me so much and loves me. I asked the new mother who Francis was. Then my mother told me that in fact, when I was born, I had real parents and they were my new parents. It so happened that my grandfather, Francis, being a very influential man, told his son to give his first child to him to raise. He planned to take the child and to take it to another country to raise as their heir to the empire. But my parents loved me very much, so they didn't want to give me up. They left me with a babysitter named Selena to hide me for a while, and when my parents came back for me, I was gone. Selena said that I was stolen from her, but in fact, she sold me to people who couldn't have children of their own. I grew up in a new family, but when I was 9 years old, my parents had their own children, and I fell by the wayside, and then I became a burden. We've been looking for you all these years, but we had to do it quietly, without making any noise, so that your grandfather wouldn't take you away from us, and he seems to have found out about you, and is now offering $500,000 to catch you, the father said. My old parents pretended they had nothing to do with it. There was silence in the air. I still didn't really understand what was going on, but my real mom sat down next to me and hugged me. She said there was no way in the world she was going to give me up to anyone now. The guests got up and left, with the psycho taking their money again, and we're now deciding what to do and how to hide from the annoying grandfather. This is my story, friends. So now I'm even glad that I was sold, because I got my own parents, and also became rich.